Andy Warhol, born in 1928, was one of the most famous artists of all time and a pioneer of the pop art movement of the mid to late 20th century. His work covered many social issues, such as the topic of homosexuality, consumerism, and the influence of politics on art. He began in advertisement illustration and later moved on to creating influential pieces through mediums such as performance art, filmmaking, video installations, writing, silkscreen printing, painting, and more, controversially blurring the lines between fine art and mainstream aesthetics. His legacy lived on through his many works that pushed the boundaries of art and forever changed American culture.
Prior to the rise of Andy Warhol and other experimental artists, U.S. society was plagued by the 50s decade of conformity that squashed individualism. This conformity was largely a result of mass production for the war, the emergence of suburbs, the constraining of women to the household to take care of the baby boom generation, and advertising. The art world and society largely lacked creativity, everyone buying the same goods and participating in the same activities. Warhol both criticizes consumerist culture, operating as a key figure in the counterculture movement, and helped bridge a cultural gap between social classes. On July 9, 1962, Warhol debuted his Campbell's soup cans in the West Coast Gallery exhibition. Warhol said, "You can be watching TV and see Coca-Cola, and you know that the president drinks Coca-Cola, Liz Taylor drinks Coca-Cola, and just think, you can drink Coca-Cola too." This work and quote demonstrates how his art attempted to remove the boundaries between classes, depicting everyday objects that everyone of all classes use. He also merged modern art and consumerism, reorienting art from something that depicts and is looked at by the upper class to something that depicts and is enjoyed by everyone. Moreover, the glorified repetition of consumer items led people to question the conformity of the decade, bringing attention to its prominence in society and therefore helping launch the counterculture movement. Warhol's belief that money controlled the U.S. can be seen through his dollar sign painting. While many did not address the growing wealth gap and ignored classism, Warhol used it in his art frequently to highlight both conformity and the socioeconomic gap. Warhol further altered consumer society through the Campbell can dresses. They weren't commercially sold, but Campbell soup cans embraced this idea and began to produce the super dress that could be bought for only $1. It became a pop icon that changed the way people thought about shopping. After the war, clothes were seen as sturdy luxuries, but with the super dress, people began to see clothes more as disposable items.
Furthermore, through Warhol's large platform of art, he used the changing art scene in the tumultuous late 20th century to advocate for the normalization of sexuality and homosexuality, resulting in more acceptance within society. He was one of the pioneers of the sexual revolution in the 60s, which pushed for the normalization of sex and love. My Hustler, a movie surrounding the relationship between two male prostitutes, was released in 1965 and was seen by many as vicious, immoral, and for its display of sexuality. It was essential to the sexual revolution and the acceptance of the gay community. Ladies and Gentlemen was a color-black portrait piece that contained photographs and collages of 10 cross-dressers, a highly sensitive and emerging topic of the 70s. On the tail of the sexual revolution, his art featured many identities, helping them become better accepted by society amidst cisgender rule. Warhol also pursued normalization of sexuality in education. Warhol said in his biography, "There should be a course in the first grade on love. There should be courses on beauty and love and sex, but they won't do that because love and sex are business." He realized love and sex are kept taboo for the benefit of consumer culture and helped remove this taboo from society by advocating for the appreciation of beauty of sex and love to be taught to everyone. His portrait of Mick Jagger further shows how he boldly spreaded sex and love to the art world, sending ripples through society and helping drive the sexual revolution.
He had an immediate political impact as well. Famous political candidates like Jimmy Carter commissioned Warhol to do their portraits as part of their campaign. He was trying to position himself as a progressive candidate and gain younger voters. Warhol idealized all his sitters, and therefore, Carter's win and the rise of other political and cultural figures can be partly attributed to Warhol. He also contributed to the anti-Nixon campaign, with his Gaulish portrait of Nixon with the title "Vote McGovern." Through this social and political commentary, Warhol also transformed the art world. With its factory and art studio that used production techniques, he made art about expression and ideas, not just about technique, setting the precedent for countless of future artists to use art as a vehicle for social and political change. These artists all impacted society, and this impact can largely be attributed to Warhol breaking artistic